Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney, and we are answering your publicly posted questions from YouTube, getting folks the answers they need from an employment attorney. We have a question here from YouTube user Priyanka, which is a great name. I've always loved that name. It was posted 12 hours ago, so that's a pretty good response time. I feel good about that. And Priyanka asked us, "Hi, Vince. Hopefully you'll see this and respond in kind by creating the following content." I am. How do I know if I'm hiring the right employment attorney? Well, I have a couple of videos on how to select an employment attorney on the channel, but let's continue. I've retained one for a retaliation claim, but he seems ready for this, oddly nice and soft spoken, and sort of lacking that arrogance or confidence attorneys are generally known for. I'd appreciate the above qualities in a therapist, but the latter seems kind of off putting to me in an attorney. Translation: I'm starting to wonder if he's aggressive enough to handle a complex case. There's a second part to Priyanka's question that I'm going to split off into a second answer. So let's answer just that section right here. First thing I'll say, and I've got a couple of videos on the channel about how employment attorneys do tend to be abrasive, arrogant, horrible people. I want to underscore that I have met some very nice employment attorneys. Oh, you know what? There's one more part. Priyanka responded. There's another message here. Would you mind also specifically commenting on the "my attorney seems too nice" part? I am really struggling whether I made the right choice, and also I'm too nice to tell him that. How do you go about changing attorneys without pissing them off? Okay, well, that's going to be a third part to this question. That last part, how do you go about changing attorneys? We'll do a third separate answer for that. Okay, so back to the original part of the question here. There are some incredible employment attorneys that are lovely, sweet human beings. That can happen. The idea that the average employment attorney is a bit horrible, and when I say a bit horrible, I mean hopefully they're well-meaning. Hopefully they want to help people. They're doing the right things. They're just abrasive and arrogant, and they think they know what's what, and they're going to tell you what's good for you, and that's common, right? Like I often joke on this channel, my best friends can only stomach me 2 days a week. I've received death threats from people that I didn't even notice I was in conflict with. That's my existence, and I think that comes in handy in my practice. But by the same token, that is not to say that all employment attorneys should or would or will behave like me. My flaws and shortcomings, while I view them as a feature, are certainly not the only way to get this job done. And I don't think you should necessarily believe that that means your attorney is weak or incompetent or not going to do the job well. So I'm specifically addressing the idea that because your attorney is nice and caring and supportive, that doesn't mean your attorney is bad. Now, if you come to the conclusion that your attorney is bad, that your attorney lacks the teeth, the density of soul, I always people will say, people will comment like, "Oh my God, I don't know how you just sat there. That person spat on you. I thought that person would go over the table at you." I was like, "Oh, I wasn't too worried about it." And they'd be like, "Why?" I'm like, "Oh, my soul's thicker than that person's." Like, I'm not. What's the worst that could happen? Which is an insane thing to say, right? Yeah. So I mean, don't look at this attorney and say just because they have a different way of going about things that they're bad. Do you remember? Maybe, I don't know how old you are, but there was, I think it was Matlock and Columbo. There was these shows on that when I was a kid, my grandmother used to watch. And they would have these Matlock would just kind of like be this sweet old man, asking questions. And then can you tell me this? And then what about that? And he was sweet as honey in that courtroom. And it's all fiction, but you get the idea here. And then all of a sudden, he's so sweet that you say the thing that you didn't want to say because he's sweet as honey and you weren't paying attention. Just a nice old man, right? That's fiction, but also like I know attorneys who behave that way. There are attorneys who go into depositions and they try to befriend the person they're questioning, or we should be honest here, trick the person they're questioning into thinking that they're friends, right? To gain some level of trust, some level of comfort, a rapport. That is a legitimate tactic in depositions and in some trial work. And the other thing, so by the same token, my grandmother used to watch Columbo, who's this detective, right? Ancient TV show. And great actor. Even as a kid, I remember being like, oh, this good kid. I was probably like 5, right? I remember thinking, oh, this guy can really act. This is crazy. He seems like he's drunk the whole time. He seems like a drunk idiot, right? And he's playing stupid the whole time. But the trope of the show, the conceit of the show is he's not stupid. He's actually great at his job. He's a fantastic detective in his disheveled trench coat. But he behaves in this foolish, lethargic manner the whole time. And people treat him like a dumb idiot. And they don't really defend themselves against him in the way that they might otherwise. And then he finds things out. Listen, do I think I want your attorney to behave like a fool? No. But I've seen that work out a couple of times. Like, so you need to have a long, serious think. Sit down and think. Winnie the Pooh style, if you're familiar with that cartoon, because he would sit there and go think, right? About if your attorney is nice and soft-spoken because they don't have what it takes, or are they nice and soft-spoken because you can be a decent person and do an amazing job as an employment attorney, right? That's a huge question. And I don't know how to answer that for you. I'll tell you this. I hire employment attorneys for a living, right? Like I basically, we run cases here. We run a lot of cases. And part of what I have to do is I have to staff this firm with people who I believe can win cases. Because if I don't believe my team can win cases, then I'm just throwing away money. Just throwing it away. It's junk, right? It's gone because we're not going to win. So I'm not going to make any money. I'm just wasting tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? You can't eyeball a human being and say, that's an employment attorney. That's that super rare mixture of detail-oriented aggression that I know will get this job done, right? That obsessive ambition, that greed, that desire to help, all in one package? That doesn't happen every day, right? You're looking for somebody who wants to fight about hate crimes and only get paid if she or he wins. That is a rare human being. So I don't, after years, many years of that question, me facing that question, what is the best employment attorney? And I've come to the conclusion, I don't fully know until they've run some cases, right? You can know they know the law. You can know that they're doing the work. You can know that they have the logical mind and the creativity to play this game that we're in, right? To fight these fights for you. But how will they put it together, right? And I don't know. Knowing what you've said here, I don't know. I can't say if this attorney that you have is good or bad. I will say being a nice human being does not mean that person is a bad employment attorney. Does mean they're a rare employment attorney. Means they're a special employment attorney. Odd employment attorney. But I know a few odd employment attorneys. They're all odd. I'm odd. And I don't think it means that they're not good. But I do think it means you should devise some method of being like, how are we going to go about this next thing, right? Yeah. Hey, can you tell me your strategy in settlement? Hey, how would you prove my case? Hey, what, a little gnat in here. Have these conversations and see if the attorney has a really good plan or if the attorney's plan amounts to, please, sir, can we have some money? Like that's not okay. That's, if your plan is, please, no, not a good attorney and should not be representing you, right? Like that's not going to work. But if the plan is something they can lay out, they're like, hey, here's how we're going to go about this. Here's where we think you should start your demand. Here's why. And they can present a logic to you that makes sense. And they can do it in a convincing manner, because part of this job is being convincing, right? That might be a great sign that this is a tremendously good attorney, right? So I don't know if I've helped you. I spat out a bunch of things you could think about, but I didn't give you an answer because I can't really, because I don't know this human being. I don't even know where you are. So I can't even say like, hey, that might make sense there, you know, or because there's a few parts of the country that have nicer, kinder, gentler employment industries, I would say. Just parts of the country where employment attorneys wear shorts to court. I kid you not. Blows my mind every time I see it. It's like, what? What is happening here? Sir, you're litigating millions of dollars. Could you put some pants on? Sir? No. I get it. It's 115 degrees out. Get some AC, put on some fucking pants. What's wrong with you? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? But like, they go to conferences that way. Not trial, but they, you know, court conferences and mediations and stuff. They might do it. I've seen them do it. So like, it is different in different parts of the country, and you're gonna have a lot of things in terms of context and a lot of judgment you're going to have to use, right? Does this person inspire you with competence? That's important. Inspiring competence is a big part of convincing people. And convincing people, as we've noted, is a big part of this job. That's the test. If this was helpful, like and subscribe. I'm going to try to answer the other two parts of your question over the next couple of days. I hope this was helpful. If it wasn't, if you have follow-up questions, you know the deal. I'll check the comments down below. I'll try to give you follow-up. Take care.